Okay. Hello, EMC community, for another live Q&A. So as usual, just for our first 1 minute while everyone else is joining, if you just want to drop in the chat where you are checking in from around the world, please do so, and we'll just let the numbers build up. As well as anywhere where you are checking in from, if you just want to let us know what military you're from, if you are checking in with someone with a military background, let us know where you're part of and potentially what you're looking for today. So had some great feedback from some of our live Q&As previously, some really fantastic stories. So what we want to do is keep building upon these. So let people know in the chat while you're here. The network has been fantastic recently. So we want to make the most out of that as well. But like I say, we'll just give a couple of minutes for everyone to jump in and join in. And then we will get started with today's Q&A. Okay, so for anyone who's been here before as well, you'll know that I'm checking in on the chat as well, so I don't miss anything. But so we've got the chat box here. Use it as much to your advantage, but if there's anything that you want to say anonymously, what you'll see on your screen as well is our Slido, so you can scan that QR code and you can ask any questions anonymously as well. But please feel free, any questions. The whole point of this is for anyone to come in and check in, ask for some advice, discuss opportunities, whether you are looking for them yourself, whether you're part of an organization. This is a meet for everyone, and a really good chance at networking. So yeah, please make the most of it. But where are we checking in from? So we've got Orlando, Cyprus, Wisconsin, Dublin, Tennessee, Texas, anybody from India, God's country, Yorkshire. I was born in Leeds. Appreciate that, John. Thank you. And Orlando. So US looking busy then already. And if anyone wouldn't mind just letting us know what your background was with the military, and start sending in your questions. So what's going on? And then I'll give everyone a bit of an intro, just so everyone knows who I am if it is your first time tuning in. So firstly, everyone who is on, thank you so much for joining. My name is Ellis Greenway. I'm an ex-Royal Marine and now the Global Community Manager at Ex-Military Careers. So the purpose for Ex-Military Careers then, we're here to be a bridge between organisations, service leavers, veterans, the whole ex-military community. So whatever the side of the fence that you sit on, we're here to provide some support, improving recruitment and retention of veterans into the business, making the most out of that talent, or even for yourself as ex-military leavers, looking for any form of tips, whether it's CVs and interviews, deciding what you want to do, career changes. We're here to provide a bit of face-to-face value and hopefully provide some support. So nice ones always to start. How's my weekend? My weekend was good. I was actually back up home, not in my original home up in Yorkshire, but in the Midlands, where we play a bit of a strange medieval game called Shrovetide, which is pretty much the roots of all sport, started in the 1600s, and is a game where over 2 days there are no rules apart from no murder and don't go in the churchyards, and try and score a ball. If anyone wants to have a look at that, if it bewilders you like it does most people, check it out. It's Ashbourne Royal Shrovetide Football. But what did I learn about myself from the Marines? I would say the biggest aspect from time in the military is, and going through probably just the initial shock of training, is how far your body will go if you, one, probably don't have much of an option to quit. But when you understand how powerful your mind can be, I think I would never have been put in the situations that I had been put in had I not joined the Marines and joined the military. And that gives you a sense of confidence, which I don't think you can replicate in many other situations. And it's one of my biggest takeaways. We've probably all heard the sayings, no cuff too tough, and the fake it till you make it. So I think learning for myself was, what I was actually really capable of if I really put my mind to something. Okay, so if anyone's got any questions in the chat, anyone who is looking for something specific in opportunities, we had some really great stories actually from our last live. We managed to put some people in contact and signpost some people, some opportunities, and get them started on their journey as a service leaver. So if you're watching this as a service leaver and you're considering or even wanting to understand how you should start navigating this this new pathway to success in civilian life, then please shout up. If you're having any issues or you're struggling with anything, let us know where those struggles are. I have absolutely no doubt that there's probably other people who are going through the same thing. So if we can raise it here today and have a bit of a discussion about it, I know a lot of people get a lot of benefit out of these. So please do continue to ask any questions. What would you advise for taking care of your mental health before you actually start the transition? I'm due to leave shortly, but I'm already struggling. Okay, so if you want to build up on that a little bit, that will probably be helpful in terms of what is it that you're currently struggling with. Are there any specific areas around your mental health where you feel like you're not fully on top of your well-being? And then maybe we can start to look at some specific life areas, or if it's one particular domain of life that you're struggling with. But in a holistic sense, in what I employ, and I can only speak, more anecdotally. Currently, the struggle is the identity loss from being in so long. Completely get it. Absolutely, completely get this. I think that the longer that you're in, this is something that is even something to consider. But it's your whole life effectively. It's not just a job. It's 24/7. It is your whole identity, and probably something that you're extremely proud of. And I think the best thing that you can start to do here is come to terms with the reasons that you're leaving and make peace with them, and start to embrace this. Just because you're leaving, it doesn't mean it's that you have to change who you are. It doesn't mean that you lose that. It's just try to look at it from more a positive sense, and all the opportunities that you can get. You're embracing a whole new life now and a new career, which is going to give you so many more benefits that you probably you might not even know that you're missing yet. So to worry about things in the future that aren't even necessarily happening, it is probably not very productive for yourself. So focus on those positives. But if it's the identity, I would consider finding businesses that have very strong ERG, so employee resource groups, or internal initiatives that support their veterans, because that you're going to be around like-minded people who are probably going to be going through the same sort of thing. And something that I massively appreciate in the workplace is being able to just grab a coffee with some of the other military leavers and some of the other veterans. And the chats can sometimes be a little bit different and a little bit out there, but there might even be things that you wouldn't really be comfortable discussing with other people. So but something that is always really, really fondly looked upon, especially for myself with working with these organizations and for people who are part of the organization. So definitely consider researching the companies you're interested in when you are leaving. Find out if there is an internal military network, and if there's not, ask to create one. It's something that can be so simple. You could set it up yourself. Identifying who the veterans are, whether you have in-person or virtual meets, just take some time to have a coffee morning once a month where you get together and spend some time together, or raise different points of awareness if there's some things that you're struggling with. So something that even if it's not in place, what a great bit of value you can bring to an employer as well. There's a lot of companies out there who might not have experienced what it's like to have veterans and all the benefits that veteran skill sets bring to a business and business capability. So definitely an area that you can improve your own employability and your value and your return to a company as well. So start looking at these positives. There's plenty of positives to be seen in this. Embrace what's happening and come to terms with it. And don't lose sight of it. Stay in touch with everyone and enjoy that was a part of your life, but accept that it's moving on. So in a short, I guess, pitch there, that's what I would recommend. But please do send me over a connection request, and happy to go into a little bit more detail and meet virtually one-on-one and provide a little bit more there, and might be able to help out and give some direction and even make some introductions into some places where I know that they've got great military initiatives going on. I want to improve my LinkedIn profile from your advice last session, but where do I start? Okay, LinkedIn, absolutely phenomenal tool. I think anyone in this space in the military leaver space, you'll hear us all harping on about how important LinkedIn is and how important networking is. And really, your LinkedIn profile anywhere in the business world is the best way to start doing that. There's even QR codes that you don't even have to give people your LinkedIn name, or any complicated ways. They can just scan this QR code and come straight with your profile. So at networking events, you can network so easily. So I would look at definitely make sure that you've got some form of professional headshot on there. I would consider not keeping military photos. I had mine on for a while, and I probably should have taken mine off earlier. Have a headline which covers, who you are and what you do. It's the first thing people are going to read about you. So, what's your role, and a bit about your background. So mine has my role in it, but it also has that I'm ex-military as well. So people understand it if they're looking at, in my world and what I'm doing. That it's good to see, that I'm a part of it as a representative of Ex-Military Careers, that I'm ex-military myself. So, and then just take the time to go through your experience just as much as you would your CV. All employers now are going to be looking for your social media presence, especially your LinkedIn presence. Take the time to go through that experience, translate it into civilian language and not just in military language. If you're a team leader, for example, that might not mean as much. Or if you're a section commander, then try translating that into a team leader, something that's a bit more easy to understand for civilian language. Talk about how, if you're running range packages, if you're running logistical packages, convert that to project management, for example. So start thinking about how you can translate the language that you're using so that everyone can get benefit out of it and everyone can really understand where your experience lies. I would look to absolutely get recommendations. So, everyone is always going to speak well of themselves naturally, because you want to paint yourself in the best light when you're approaching employers. But if you've got credible sources, professional sources on your LinkedIn, you can get recommendations. You can ask previous colleagues. You can ask anyone to write you up a recommendation. Obviously, don't go out and commit a load of fraudulent activity and get someone to type up a load of stuff that's not true. But get recommendations from people who you've worked with, who see your benefit and what your skill set are, and absolutely pack out your recommendations. I think that's always such a strong one, and it gives a really good impression of someone if they've got a lot of positive recommendations from a mix of people with different backgrounds, because it shows how you can be and how you can interact and how you can provide value in all these different situations. I think this one came in first, so Wayne, I'll jump to that one after. But what can we as leaders in businesses do to better cater for veterans? What kind of policies would be useful for ex-forces? Really good question, and definitely a difficult one if you're not a veteran yourself. We see a lot now that people in hiring managing positions, talent acquisition, in diversity fields, that veterans do play a role in these, and they're not always, you don't have to be a veteran or a service leaver to be in that position yourself, and then you're dealing with this world. So I would definitely seek advice, and the chances are there will be veterans in your business. Take the time to speak to them and find out what would be beneficial, specifically within your business, that they would have benefited from. What process, what part of the process was beneficial, what wasn't so beneficial. I would absolutely, coming back to the earlier point, consider setting up an ERG for your veterans. That's something that's so small and requires little time, and you can even empower one of the veteran employees to run that and give them a bit more responsibility. Someone who wants to get into management, for example, and that shows that you understand and you value their past and their experience, and also gives them time to bond together. And as we've seen already, this loss of identity, which is very real and a real struggle for everyone who's been through it, it starts to get an environment where you can bring that back, and you can talk about things with like-minded people, and just reminisce a little bit, and sometimes that can go such a long way. I would also consider one thing that was really important to me, actually, is one of a place where I worked and even had the time to do it here, is on Remembrance Day. It was just an absolute given that whatever needed to be done on the day, I went down to pay my own respects in a way that I've felt like I wanted to, and that was something that we all had the space to do and the capacity to do, and we got that day to go and make that decision. So that would be something that if I was an employer, I would want to give veterans. Wayne, so I'm wanting help with deciding my next career steps. Once I've completed the degree I'm doing at the minute, I'm stuck on my next course of action. Also, if there are any veterans who would like to comment on my dissertation topic of military veterans at risk of suicide, please contact me. Wayne, thank you for putting yourself out there and sharing this with us. I'm sure there's lots of people and actually would, if there's you know, a lot of connections who I have in my network, so would be more than happy to jump on a chat sometimes, or we can talk about your dissertation topic and put you in some good places to get some good references, and some good people who would be absolutely more than willing to help with this. Obviously a very poignant topic that I'm sure everyone here and watching is very passionate about. So we can chat about that further, but everyone else who is tuning in, please get in touch with Wayne if you feel like you can provide some value there, and the work that he's doing. But you're wanting help with deciding your next career steps. So we'll be interested to see what degree you're doing and where that could be well transferred. But I would look at bigger picture things first. So what were the reasons you left and what are you looking to achieve on the outside? You know, is it because you want to spend more time with family? So, you know, are you considering roles that often have hybrid and remote working opportunities, for example? You know, where does your skill set lie? And I've discussed this on, I think, the previous lives that we've done. Is you want to create a Venn diagram now of what you're good at, what you enjoy doing, what you can be paid to do, and what the world needs. So effectively, you bring all those 4 different areas together, and somewhere in the middle, you should find something that you're passionate about, that you can get paid for, and that you enjoy, and it all fits together where you should get some sense of I guess happiness with your working world and what you're looking to achieve outside. So I would look at creating that Venn diagram for yourself, Wayne, and seeing what's in the middle, and that could be a few different things, and then start exploring. Not Wayne, not a problem. But there's loads and loads and loads of opportunities out there which, you know, aren't even considered a lot of the time in a law degree. Okay, cool. So obviously that's something that's, you know, more specific than and something that's, you know, well transferable into the world of law. So yeah, I appreciate that, Wayne. Wayne, shoot me a connection request and we'll have a bit of a chat, and I should be able to help you out and get you some do some networking and put you in touch with some good people who would absolutely be able to help. But Wayne, thanks so much for jumping in and contributing there. Did you struggle with interviewing straight out of the military? Was there a big difference between interview-like situations in the Marines versus corporate? Yes, there's a huge difference, I thought, between interview-like situations in the Marines. One, because, you know, if you're being sent up to speak to someone top brass, then there's probably not a very good reason for you being there. More times out of not, it's probably because you're in trouble and you've done something wrong, which is not a position any of us want to find ourselves in. Did I struggle? Yeah, I think that it was the world of the unknown, right? And I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know whether I should be being very open about my past, or whether I should be trying to paint a light of what I thought civilian employers wanted to hear, and that we aren't that different, or should we be going out there and talking about how we are different? So I think it's just very different. And the best thing you can do is just throw yourself. You're going to have to just throw yourself into it. You know, don't hold out and hold off of interviewing when you can use that, because it's a skill. So if you've got the opportunity to go and interview somewhere, even though this might not be the job for me, go and do the interview. Build up that skill set, because even if you practice it, which you should do anyway, you know, with whoever you can call upon in your support network, be it friends, families, previous colleagues, partners, you should be doing some sort of kind of preparation before the interview, just to get used to what you're saying and how you want to articulate and how you come across, your body language, etc. But there is no substitute for actually getting out there and doing some interviews. So start doing them. And you can even take that a little bit of a scale back by jumping into the network, like jumping in the chat now, seeing who's out there and networking with people. It's a very similar situation, but if you speak to a lot of folks on LinkedIn and just ask them for a bit of their time, you're already starting to have these professional conversations with people who you don't know yet. So that's a good stepping stone to start to get into the world of interviewing. Do you have any events coming up in person or aside from the live Q&As? Yes, so As we've discussed, we've got a big live, a big in-person EMC event, which is going to be coming up at some point further along in the year. We've not got finalised dates for that, but it will be an opportunity for service leavers, veterans to come along with organisations who want to hire. So a great opportunity to network, where you'll also be able to get some great tips from getting professional headshots and doing little CV workshops and interviewing workshops. So we'll have an element of tons of value for service leaders coming along, and then actual opportunities which will be there as well. Part of my passion is that I want to help more veterans who struggle to get the right legal help. Wayne, that's really interesting. We do a lot of podcasts for EMC. We do a lot of the live Q&As, but they're not always just me. They can be with other people. So we can definitely look at getting you on the platform and talking about how we can use your skills and what you're doing, and how you can support the community. You know, a lot of veterans always want to give back, which is what I love so much about being able to do this and networking with everyone and speaking to everyone all the time. So yeah, Wayne, let's definitely discuss this. We'll link up on LinkedIn and we'll have a chat. Back to events as well then. So if anyone is in the London area, so we've got a hackathon coming up. We partner with the Coding Institute, and what we are looking for is veterans who are willing to be part of teams. So the focus this year is for mental health support. So the teams will be tasked to build apps that will help veterans and raising awareness for mental health. So if anyone wants to embed themselves with a team who are going to be going through this process, which is all virtual, then please reach out to me. Let me know. And if there's anyone who's got some good corporate spaces within London who want to be able to host something like this, it's a great opportunity to get options to look at, for coders. The last place we did this, they hired 3 coders off the back of this, and also support the veteran community as well. So, and we're also looking for judges. So if you're watching, you think you'd like to be part of this and want to give back a little bit and get involved with a really great project, then let me know, whether it's being a panelist and giving a little bit of an hour in an evening or something virtually, or coming along to be a judge on the Saturday, then please let me know. I'll get some more finalized dates out for everyone. But yeah, that hackathon's looking to be really promising. We've done it a few times. So yeah, it's looking good. So just drop me a message if anyone would be interested in that. Looking back on my transition, what would I do differently? Yeah, so my biggest thing is that I actually managed to secure a role quite early on in my transition. I was that worried that I didn't think I was going to find any roles, that I started applying before I'd even put my chit in and my application to leave, just to see what the response would be. And I started to find that I was getting good feedback and good opportunities. And then it ended up being that I had so long to wait that I was probably a little bit lazy and complacent, and I didn't make the most of my full resettlement period. I didn't make the most of my learning credits, and that's what I would do differently now. Just because I thought that I had it nailed, and I thought I was all set to go, but I could have made a lot more use of my time, my credits, and what was there for me. Whether it's something that was directly applicable to that role or not, there's always different ways that you can improve your employability. So that's what I would go back and change if there was one thing. Did you find a coach or mentor useful in transitioning? And if so, would you suggest someone who also has military experience? Having a mentor is a great idea, and I would employ anyone to go out and try and find a mentor. If you can, I wouldn't even just look for one. I would try and find someone who, yes, has military experience, and then I would try and find someone who is within the world that you're looking to get into. Someone who has been there and has walked it, and they've done that civilian life, and can help you put your experience into what they've done, and find where that synergized. Pardon me. Find where that synergizes, and how you can make the most of what you bring to the table to get to where they are. And this diversity of thought is really important as well. If you are only looking for mentors who've got military background, that's the same as your experience. So why not look for someone who's got a different skill set and a different approach, and then take that beginner's mindset and be a bit of a sponge and learn from them, because again, you're going through a whole new phase of learning now. So do it from someone who's a specialist in their field. So absolutely so useful. I didn't really have one going through my actual transition. I wish I did. I wish I'd have got on LinkedIn and I'd have got a mentor or some form of coach earlier. But now I do. A good friend of mine and also my coach and mentor, Chris Reeves, the performance and wellbeing coach. You'll see him all over my LinkedIn because I've done quite a lot of work with him now. If anyone is looking for a coach or a mentor, please reach out to Chris. He's absolutely fantastic. He's just someone who's got an absolute gift for bringing out the best in people and helping people find their way. So do reach out to him. And we've got an absolutely fantastic network of other people here as well. Trish Mullen, always here to support and always does a great job with everyone. So feel free to reach out to her too if you want some career transitioning advice. Okay, just going to flick into the chat as well, just make sure I haven't missed anyone. I've just been looking on the sliders, but keep banging in any questions if anyone's got any. Wayne, just seen this because of PTSD struggles. It's taken a lot for me to ask in here today. Thank you for your help. Wayne, massive chuck up to you. Should be proud of yourself for coming forward and saying that it's not an easy step to take, but what's needed for us to start changing the narrative around this is people who are willing to speak out and willing to take these steps and let everyone else know that it is so common and it's normal, and these struggles they're here and they're present, and we should all be working and helping each other with this, and it takes people to take these steps to pave the way and be leaders in this space. So thank you so much for sharing that. Really do appreciate it. Okay, can you give insight on which specific role should a military veteran from the communications field apply for? So I wouldn't and can't sit here and say that I'm a specific expert in any one field. It's not really where my remit lies. I look more holistically at helping people decide on their general roles that they're going to take. I've not been I've never worked in the field of communications in civilian street, so I don't know what all the specific different roles are and what the opportunities are to get there. So if you could just elaborate on what that looks like, I might be able to provide a little bit of advice from maybe an overall picture. If you could build on that a little bit and where the differences lie, then might be able to help and see where your military experience lies within those different fields. Number one tip for LinkedIn, network, but do that with constantly growing it. So max out your connection requests every single week with relevant people, and then don't just seek to get value from everyone. Try and put value out onto LinkedIn. So if you can help someone, if you can advise with a situation, if you can be active, all this activity that gets seen, that's what I would be looking to do. So max out those relevant connection requests. There's some great groups in here where you can start getting stuck in with active veterans and service leavers. The Gen Dit network is absolutely fantastic. They're grown up to nearly 9,000 members now. So even if you jumped in there and started connecting with people, speaking to people in that group, that would be a really, really, really good place for you to start. So yeah, max out those connections and get active. Start speaking to people. Be willing to give up your time and be willing to try and add value where you can without return. But pretty quickly, if you start doing that, I think you'll find that a lot of people will make time for you and will be more than happy to offer some insight and provide some support, which we always see and is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, two-way value add. That's how you should always approach these elements, and I think it comes down to if there's so our LinkedIn Live is usually about half an hour. So if there's one thing I could round off with, then when you start getting into networking situations, which you're no doubt going to start getting into as you leave the military, what you find a lot is when you are meeting new people, often what people want to do is paint themselves in the best light that they can, which often involves a lot of talking. So yes, you need to be able to introduce yourself and you need to be able to articulate exactly who you are and what you're doing. But after that, then learn to start being quiet and learning about everyone else. If you spend all your time trying to convince everyone how great you are, you might not realize that you're stood in a room with a dozen absolute gurus in their space who are willing to help, but you haven't given them the option to do so. So add as much value as you can. Don't expect value, but if you go out there and try to provide value everywhere, then I think it gets repaid twofold. Brilliant. So that rounds us up for our half an hour on our live Q&A this week. Absolutely no doubt that we will get one again next week. But just before we shut off, if anyone's got any feedback, if anyone's got anything that they want to see in future sessions, please drop it in the chat. Let us know what would be helpful. And if there's different times in the day that help you, then we can move these around. So any feedback would be massively appreciated. And thank you to Aisha again. So as you can see, Aisha in the chat, always supporting in the background and doing all the hard yards for me. So thank you, Aisha. But anyone else who's got some value out of this, feel free to hit me with a connection request. Wayne, again, thanks so much for your involvement today. But I will see you all soon.